Hey guys, it's Jax here, and today I'm going to be telling you guys all about Minecraft's 1.17/1.18's goats. Goats were introduced in 1.17, but in 1.18 you can find them in more of a variant of biomes. They are a neutral mob, which means that they are not aggressive until you fight them or are idle for a period of time. I'll go deeper into that a bit later, and have a max damage of 3 on hard mode. They have 10 HP or 5 heart, so this is half what the player has, and drops goat horns in Bedrock Edition, as well as XP, but in Java Edition it just drops XP, no goat horns. Goats can be found in frozen peak biomes, jagged peaks, and snowy slopes. Light levels, they have to spawn in a light level of 7 or above and spawn alone. There is a 2% chance of a screaming goat spawning. Now, screaming goats are a variant of the normal type of goat. I'll be going deeper into this a bit later on, so stay tuned. Goats are bred by holding wheat and clicking on them like you would with a cow. Here is some footage of me doing this. It's super simple. It doesn't take too much effort at all. Now, when you breed these two goats, there is a 2% chance of a screaming goat spawning from 2 normal goats. Screaming goats look identical to goats, but the only way to tell is the fact that they will scream and ram more. While we're halfway between the video, if you guys are enjoying this, me and Gerald, the goat behind me here, would really appreciate it if you hit that big like button. So here are what these screams will sound like. Now, goats can perform something called a long jump. Here is what it is on your screen now. It is a very long jump, as the name says, but there is normally a 30 to 60 second cooldown on this. Every 30 to 300 seconds, that is a cooldown time, goats will push a mob or player. The player has to be idle, but it won't push goats or ghasts. Now, if it is a screaming goat, this cooldown is drastically dropped to 15 to 30 seconds. So you need to be very careful around a screaming goat because you don't want to get knocked off of a cliff. Because remember, although it might do 5 damage, on a 3 damage, just a little amount of damage, it could knock you off a cliff and send you to your doom. Now, these goats, when they do ram you, will knock you back up to 9 blocks. So that is a far way, a good far way. And if this is off the cliff, you will be pushed to your death. Now, baby goats will only knock you back 4 blocks, so you don't have to worry too much about them. But even then, that is enough to send you off a cliff, depending on how close you are to the edge. Goats can actually be attached to a lead like this. Then you can bring them over to wherever you want. As well as that, you can milk them like this. And get some milk from it. Now, you don't get any specific special type of milk like goat's milk, but it is another way of getting milk and a pretty fun way of having it. You're milking goats rather than cows. Just changing it up a little bit. Of course, if you have it on a lead, you can attach it to a fence post like this and have a pet goat. Now we're going to talk a bit more about the goat's ramming sort of ability. Now, this ability, like I said earlier, does have a cooldown and it varies depending on the type of goat. But for both goats, it has a small ramming animation. It needs 4 blocks of space between the chosen mob and the goat to actually be able to do this ram. So if you are, let's just hop out of this. If you are, say, next to the goat like here, there's only 3 blocks of space, so it won't be able to ram you. And if you have a block in between like this around you, you won't be able to be rammed either. So there are a few ways you can protect yourself, but I still would say be careful around goats because you don't want to be pushed off. So now you guys know all about Minecraft goats. So make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys later. And remember, stay carbonated.